Alright, I'm back. As you guys might have seen in the last video, I suddenly had a Volkswagen Polo. That Polo is now suddenly gone. Well, not really suddenly, it's been 3 months or something. And it hasn't resurfaced anywhere, it hasn't resurfaced on Facebook Marketplace or anything. It's gone. It's just gone. But I do have a replacement for it. A 90s car. Do I have a purpose for that 90s car? That's something I didn't say. But I do have a 90s car that I've wanted for a very long time. And now that I have a little bit of storage space, I can keep this, because I've had two of these before. One was my first car and I crashed it, sadly, as you do with your first car. The second I couldn't keep because of storage issues. But and then I, of course, sold it. That one hasn't resurfaced either. I've been looking for it for gosh, 2 or 3 years now. But anyway, I now have storage, and I now can keep one of these cars, and I have found a really nice example. Well, without further ado, I'll show you guys what exactly it is. Yeah, an Opel Astra F / Mark III / Vauxhall / Holden. You know the drill by now. Now, this example is a 1997 Opel Astra F 1.4 GLS spec. That little swoopty line means GLS or Dream. I haven't been really certain about that, but it's the thing is, it's not a CDX, but it's also not GL or Sport. It's the kind of old people luxury version, and that's exactly where this came from. An old person. That's my favorite kind of car buying experience. Old people. So yeah, you might think, what makes this one so special then? Well, it only has 64,000 kilometers, and I got it for a really good deal. I mean, the Polo, I think I paid like 225 quid for that. I traded the Polo for this and paid 500 quid extra, so I'm about 725 quid into this thing. And a good clean, but that didn't cost me anything. So this one also has a few choice extras, like, for instance, you might have noticed this, the real Opel fan would have noticed this, the big spoiler. Normally on these Astra Fs you would get a spoiler up to here, about in black plastic, but this one has the big spoiler. I really like it. I've not seen many of these, certainly not for sale, but it has it, and I love it. The second thing that it has is this, the big screen, which I'll also show you. It shows the the fuel that's being used, shows the clock. There's also temperatures somewhere up there, but that's only when you start it. And it has a trip. It has a trip that you can see how far you can still drive this thing, which is really modern for a 90s car. We'll get back to the interior in just a short while. I just want to show you a few more things on the outside. Of course, as I told you, this was owned by an old person, so there's a few scratches and a few dings around it. Not really that much of a problem. That one is a big one though. I'm gonna try to make that one disappear. And also a reason to buy this thing. It has no rust. Absolutely none. It's completely... there is not even a speck starting on this side. Maybe here a little bit of bubbles going on. Not a big problem. If you can just maintain this a little bit, it will disappear forever. On the other side, it's the same story. Absolutely immaculate. And for that price, I couldn't really pass that up. I did sacrifice the Polo for it, but the Polo was, of course, in a rougher condition, higher mileage, and I am not a Volkswagen person, so I didn't care that much. I still feel like I killed it because it went to Brussels, known for sprouts, waffles, and being a big city. So, not the ideal environment for a car, a big city. But, yeah, at least it saved this one from going there. And I appreciate that. Another old person necessity, an electricity strip, I'm gonna call this. Of course, it drags on the floor and it takes the little zaps away when you try to open your car and you get electrocuted. It's not ideal as an old person, certainly not when you have a pacemaker, I assume. But the creme de la creme, for me at least, about this spec of car, I really hoped that my previous one, the burgundy one, the burgundy Astra Mark III, would have this, but it didn't. But let's see if you guys can see it. An electric aerial. That is the most awesome 90s car thing, in my opinion. That's it trying to get back into its place. Well, I'll get in and show you guys around it a little bit. As I've said, this is a really clean example. It has no wear really of any kind, not on the steering wheel, not on the gear knob. Of course, this thing always destroys itself. But that's usual Opel shit. It's not even really that bad. Normally this whole thing is just fabric, not even fake leather anymore. This one is pretty nice, even still. But I am going to buy a new one, of course, because, well, it's a bit loose and it's a bit annoying because sometimes it creeps up and then it just... doesn't even pop back in. I think this is already a replacement. and it's already gone bad. Anyways, a few other things you would get with your 1997 Opel Astra. Driver's airbag, but the GLS also gave you a passenger airbag, which I haven't had in one of these cars before. Really nice. As you might remember, I said that the dashboard on the Polo was rhinoceros colored. I take that back. This is also rhinoceros colored. Another thing I said in the Polo video, that Opel doesn't use Blaupunkt. They did. But I think, at least I believe, that this was a Philips radio first. And then they just smacked Blaupunkt on top of it and they started producing it. Yeah, this also has the luxury stereo with cassette. You, of course, would have the Blaupunkt Car 300 and then the Delco Electronics CDR 500 that literally every single Vauxhall Opel Holden product had in from somewhere between 1997 and 2005. But this one still has the luxurious version of the cassette radio, because of course old people, they bought cassettes in the millions and then they suddenly didn't want to convert to CDs, so they optioned this. Or well, it's like debadging a car. They just got a cassette player in their car instead of a CD player. Another thing that this one has that none of my other Astras ever had, an alarm system, which has goofed me a few times. But I forgive it. It is an original alarm system. It's easy to turn off. It's not that big of a deal. So, let's move on. It has awesome 90s seats. Electric windows, also a GLS standard option, and a sunroof, which works. I love that. My Cadet has a sunroof, but it doesn't work. This one does. So at least I have a working sunroof. It's a Webasto! Wow. I didn't know they made standard sunroofs. I thought they only made aftermarket ones. Anyways. Yeah. There is also a bit of history with this thing, of course. I love this. This is the last inspection paper. Cover up the license plate, the old owner. It is the first, this is a one owner vehicle, which I also really like. But look at this. So this was the recorded mileage when this thing went to the inspection, which is 64,103 kilometers. Then this was the previous mileage from the inspection before that. So you can see how much you drove last year. And this person drove 413 kilometers between inspections. So in a year, span of a year. That is just, this is peak old people. Just drive it to the inspection and that's it. It also has its little red certificate, which is the Belgium equivalent of you have an old car. It has, of course, its manual with writing on it, the tire pressure. Peak old people. I love it. I also love the design of this little book. And then, of course, service and warranty, which it has up until 2016, and back in 2016 it had 60,122 kilometers, which means that in the past 8 years, is that 8 years? Yes, 8 years, it only drove 4,000 kilometers. Be cold, people. I love it. I'm gonna put everything back in its space. There we go. Now, of course, you've already seen a lot of this. There is one thing that is the most important thing about an Opel Astra F. Those windows. It gives you a feeling of space, but it also helps you see out of, and they are the greatest thing ever. Period. You can see anything, and it feels like I'm in a modern home in here because of that extra window. It's not cold, it's not dark, it's not cramped, it's not. It has so much light in here. I am getting really warm in here. Some other things, of course, a little bit of house carpet. It's being used as carpet. Get out of here, bastard. No, out. Yes, out. No, out. Out. Yes, of course. Good, it's gone. Well, that's really all I have to say about this thing currently. I'm gonna take it for a short little drive back to my unit. Of course, it's a 1.4. You've all seen a 1.4. I hope that it starts because the battery is a bit weak. Let's see. Of course it doesn't. So yeah, I'm gonna bump start this thing, and then I'll get back to you guys. It's gonna be interesting. All right. So here we are. I got it started, luckily. I didn't want to go grab the battery. It says it only has 45 kilometers to drive, but I believe it's lying to me. Anyway, let's take it for a short little drive, because the last video was 38 minutes long and I found that way too long. But in any way, I'm gonna talk to you guys a bit about my personal history with this kind of Astra. As some of you might know, this is one of Opel's best models, best-selling models of all time. I think they sold running about 4 million of these in, like, at the highest part 10 years, counting the Astra Classic that was sold in Eastern Europe. Close the window. But of course, my personal history with this, what some of you might see as a shitbox, this is a dead-end street. Good. My personal history, of course, it was my first car, but not only that, it wasn't only my first car. I only had that thing for 2 months before I crashed it. But I knew so many people that had this exact car. Well, we needed to go here. I knew so many people that had this car. I mean, my uncle had one. My neighbors had one. One of my aunts had one. It's so. There were so many of these around, and they have all disappeared. And that's where I want to preserve this one. And well, many people will see this as not really being worthy of classic car status, because they either grew up in them or they remember them as just being regular cars. But to them I have to say, well, a Cadet C, which then most likely will be the kind of car you see as a classic car, or a car from your youth, was also just this. It was just a regular car. Okay, it had some more cool versions like the Coupe, the GTE, the Sport, but this is my kind of classic, because I remember this thing from my childhood. I remember seeing them in droves. And a classic car can be many things, of course. It can be you just buying a car from the 1940s and saying, well, this is my classic car, I like it, of course, your personal choice. But it can also be, in my opinion, just a car you remember. And as I said, I remember so many people driving this, just an Astra hatchback with a 1.4 or a diesel. That was also a very popular option. And just this steering wheel, that regular basic Opel steering wheel that was in everything, like from the Omega to the Vectra, the Corsa even had one of these wheels for a while. And it's just that memory that I want to keep alive. The regular old car that this is, people think I'm an old person when they see me. Of course, deep in my heart, I really am an old person. And that's why I love my beige little Opel Astra F. But that's just the point I wanted to get to. This car might not be a classic to everyone, but it is to me. And that's, in my opinion, the most important thing, that I like it. I'm just going to shut up now. I'm going to fold this thing back into its storage space, and then I'm going to end the video because it's bleeding hot. It's unbelievable, really. Where did you guys go? I didn't approve of that. Oh my god, this thing is hot. Anyway, this is just me steaming in my little Astra. I'm going to have to end this video like right now, because, well, my battery is getting really low, and I do not want to retake this video again. So thank you guys for watching very much, and I will see you in the next one, which will be an update, but there's also a new car coming. Yeah,